everybody, and welcome to the Albion Giants League.
Is that where we are?
The Kaiju Division here on Smite Game. Brought to you by Musi and here by Blazy Bard. Testile, Almighty Eyes in the Sky, keeping the prod lights on and the camera steady. Blazy,
Hi.
welcome in, man. How you feeling?
Thank you for having me. No, I'm feeling okay. It's a bright, sunny day here in ye old England, and I'm ready here at the bright and early hour of sometime in the day to get into our first game of week number 2 here between Cabezones and Wabi-Sabi, with some familiar names here, specifically Heed and Spreen here on the Monos, which is monkeys for us in the English-speaking vernacular. Now, Musi, you've seen a little bit more of these teams than I have over last week's space of play. Tell me a little bit about how these rosters have existed. More specifically, let's talk about Rapids here on the Monos.
Well, Rapids is going to be a newer addition to Monos Cabezones' roster here as the jungler for them. A recent addition just as early as even today is when it was registered. As far as how these teams are doing in the standings so far, no wins for either of them, actually. They're currently both 0-1, and both of these teams actually just barely missed each other during relegations. The one thing that they have in common is that they knocked out Unlimited Lines in the knockout relegation. So it'll kind of be interesting to see how they line up against each other so far.
So we're going to start off with a jungle target pick. Pele taken away, always a strong character. Hercules as well, Musi, has been a terror in the rank queues at the moment. I don't think I've seen a ranked game where Hercules has not been taken away. More focus on the jungle, though, on the other side. The monkeys, ironically enough, do not want to see Humbats in this one.
It makes a ton of sense. I mean, just a whole bunch of CC. That Fear No Evil is an enabler of fights and a complete disabler of any kind of teamwork to be able to work through, and a beads burner. So just off the table for now.
Hecate on the other side as well. Artio taken away, which I find a little bit interesting. I'm not sure about you, Musi. Artio doesn't strike me as something that is inherently terrifying. The Hecate, though, I think is a little bit slept on. I'm glad to see it taken away.
What's interesting about the Artio pick is that I believe that she's very strong, but I also feel like maybe she has some certain matches where she doesn't get a chance to shine as well, right? Like if somebody picks in the Artio, you're able to lock in Cabrakan and you're just kind of chilling. So to see it take it off the board is going to leave open some other more competitive picks. Maybe the Kali ADC has actually been kind of rising through the ranks in terms of popularity. We know that On Her is another high prio pick for that dual lane. As far as like mid lane, I noticed the Discordia still up and available, which looks especially good knowing that Hecate is off the board.
Yeah, as well, you know, we can highlight Nuwa with Aspect. This has been something that's been really showing some power and terrorizing the queues, my queues at the very least, with some really strong Aspect mechanical play. Daji off the board as well here. Lots of junglers taken away, and almost the namesake of the league that we're sitting in right here, Musi, Odin, first locked in here for the Cabezones.
Very powerful pick. Interesting to see it in the first pick as well, just because now Wabi-Sabi have an opportunity to draft around this Odin pick. What this guy does, he brings to the table, addition to the fact that he's just very tanky, very hard to pin down, consistent CC with low cooldowns with that Gungir's Might, and of course the almighty Ring of Spears. It forces a shell. So now if Monos Cabezones can get some beads burners for their teams, it puts Wabi-Sabi in a position of needing 2 relics when that's a kind of expensive price to pay.
Yeah, for sure, but they're not going to be the only ones with a cage. Aladdin taken here on the other side. All of these junglers taken off the table, Musi, but there are still so many strong ones. Aladdin notably has been seeing a little bit more resurgence in play in this most recent patch. Merlin as well locked in here. I like this. One of the very few mid laners in the game at the moment who has the ability to get out of Odin cage, even if Flicker is on a 20-odd something cooldown.
I mean, that's why you pick up picks like that Staff of Mirrodin. We've been seeing a lot of play with that item. Double blink. You can't tell me it's not decent, right? It's bam, bam. But whether or not the mid laner Wabi-Sabi wants to actually lock that down will be a question we get to see answered in game. But I'm right there with you. Aladdin was a pick that we didn't get a chance to see played too often. Even some murmurings of him just being not great anymore. But like you said, especially with the recent patch and the hot fixes, he's kind of had his moment to come back, and he's still very much so a menace.
Yeah, speaking of, Circles seems to be the name of the game. Sober is picked over here for Los Monos Cabezones, and Anha taken away as well. We already touched on Anha. This is a strong pick, always has been a high mechanical skill pick. Yi taken in response, and looks like Osiris being locked here fourth as well. This is shaping up to be such an interesting composition from Wabi-Sabi. I'm especially interested, though, in the Cabezones ones, because again, more Circles and Villadorn is powerful, but it feels like we're getting a little predictable here.
Predictable, but hard to stop. Oh my gosh.
Sure.
You want to talk even more Circles? There's the Newt hover there too. Oh my gosh. I mean, think about what they've got drafted so far, right? We talked about how this Odin Ring of Spears forces you to have Shell. What do we have to follow up with? A beads burner, another beads burner, slash maybe even a character that makes you think about Aegis with how much damage you're going to be taking, and the Newt, which makes you go, I wish I get to have both. So Wabi-Sabi needs a conglomerate of 3 relics to be able to live through any kind of fight, and that's just not going to fit in the build. You'll notice that there aren't many CC immune ultimates for Wabi-Sabi either. The Sobek that they just locked in, that'll be good for them, but Osiris has that jump, and that's about it. Not the Merlin, not the Yi. Yes to the Aladdin, but if you're using your ultimate to beads burn as an Aladdin, something tells me it's not going the way you want it to.
Yeah, definitely sub-ideal to have to use that incredibly strong lockdown tool to get away from something here, but it is potentially what Wabi-Sabi are going to have to do. I mean, what? This is Evil Cole on Aladdin. He wants to buy Blink, obviously. He doesn't want to have to buy these beads or even the shell. I don't think the cage is going to be too big of a problem for the Aladdin specifically, I'll add, with the wall run. But you're absolutely right. This is a lot of basically going, hey, we're here. We are going to CC you into the ground. We're going to displace you, move you, cage you, stomp you. What are you going to do about it? You don't have beads. It feels like Wabi-Sabi are going to get lifted up by the ankles and shaken down for their lunch money.
Or shoved into the lockers, which should be fairly interesting to see as we get a chance to see with our own very eyes that old battleground of the gods. So let's just go ahead. Let's not even delay. We'll jump in there. Monos Cabezones versus Wabi-Sabi here in week 2 of the Albion Giants League.
It's going to be interesting to see how things shake up on the starts. I know things have been a little bit elastic in terms of where the jungler wants to begin. Is there a normalized route or something we've seen kind of come up on top of this cream in terms of where the jungler wants to start? Is it still the Scorpion?
So there are a couple schools of thought, right? Or an age of experimentation, as Twitter might tell you, where some of the junglers like to start at the red buff and then go to like Baxter Scorpion, finish that triage, and then go do their speed, moving up to Cyclops to then fight for the Oracles. But recently, it kind of feels like we're moving back towards that traditional start at either Scorpion or your backs, and then you and the mid laner do red. You finish up the Cyclops camp, and then you meet each other back at the other Cyclops camp after the jungler finishes up that speed buff.
And is there, I'm assuming it's more based on like the clear speeds. Is Thor necessarily going to have a different start to Aladdin? Is it based on mid? You know, there's a lot of
like
what's what I'm looking for here? Variables, a lot of variables that we're looking out for here.
So between Aladdin and Thor, I do feel like Thor is going to be a little bit faster clear. Aladdin's one of those characters that kind of ramps up as time goes on. Level 1, maybe not the strongest character in the world, but Thor, and especially if you get a chance to see if they're rocking that aspect passive, you know, they get to have these AoE lightnings that help clear the camps as well. So he'll be able to sweep through that a little bit quicker. But then you're also thinking about Newt and Merlin and how their speeds confer with each other. And I do really feel like Newt's clear earlier in the game, I feel like can overtake Merlin, especially when it comes time for those fire brands. I'm very curious to see if we get to see the Newt rotation over there. But that's around the 3-minute mark. We've got a little bit of Smite to play before we even get to that point.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I love about Smite 2 Musi. Already, it's such a branching paths kind of game, right? Before you even get in, am I going aspect? Am I not going aspect? What kind of positioning do I want to take? Even then, there's a bunch of different builds that you can take. I think one of the most interesting things about Smite 2 for me has been those spicy rocks over with the imps. Who takes them? What's the most beneficial pattern? Are they going to the solo laner, the mid laner, the jungler? Who's the priority target for these rocks?
I mean, whoever has dual scaling gets to have dibs is kind of my line of thought in terms of who gets to take the aquarium rocks themselves, right? And if we take a look at like who's where in that solo lane, Rapids, Odin, dual scaler, and James on the Osiris pick, similar, right? Also has a bit of that dual scaling, but I would definitely give it to that Odin first before anybody else on the Monos team, just so that he can have a little bit of a bigger shield and deal a little bit more damage with the rest of his autos and abilities.
Looks like we got a DC on the overlay at least, but not everyone is in game. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen.
We're
it's
all
just
here.
a bit of a overlay bug. Somebody's missing over here on the monkeys, just on the screen, but well, they are in the game. Don't you worry about that. In the meantime, though, it looks like a relatively classic clear. It did look like both junglers started over towards that Scorpion, cleared up the reds, and now we're heading over to the other side.
The Odin is going to be our jungler for Monos Cabezones, as opposed to the Thor that we were initially thinking about, and that makes sense to me, honestly, right? This Odin is at its most dangerous when the cage is mobile across the map. Because if you take a look and see the relics for Wabi-Sabi, there's only one shell, and it's in the hand of that Sobek, as well as the Osiris, right? So that means the mid laner could be a very easy target once you get rid of that blink.
Yeah, and looks like that's where the pressure's going on already. Flicker expended, and that's a long cooldown here at the 1 minute and 40-second mark. The Oracles, the next contestation point, I believe those get split one aside, and even though we talked about Aladdin having a little bit of a slow start, it's not going to stop him from dealing damage. Spreen, though, catching up earlier than expected. Newt, so strong here. Being able to catch out El Pacero this early is going to be devastating. Merlin already takes so long to get online.
Yeah, it's like you said, right? The blink was down on cooldown. They didn't have a chance to get away. Damage coming on top of this Kerberos as well. Aladdin around the corner, and he's dead. Well, looks like Wabi-Sabi will be able to get there 1-for-1.
It's a 1-for-1, but it's in two very different places, and I think exactly the places they want them to be in, right? Aladdin and Newt, definitely two are the better scaling gods. There's another fight here in mid, and Odin is already wrapped back around. Blinking, you'll miss it. Merlin might be dead again, but a nice little juke count forces the leap into the tower. Rapid's not quite able to secure it, but it's a TKO, and that's a full wave missed for Merlin.
I mean, you saw that Rapids had held on to that Gungir's Might, waiting for the stun, waiting for that bead, still not able to confirm it. Meanwhile,
the right-hand side, an attempt was made, but spotted out seemingly. Thor not falling for your tricksy ways, Aladdin. He's had too much experience with his brother on that front. So it'll just be a split here from Cole. As the Alliance starts to group up here for the Imps on the right-hand side. Gonna be contentious. There's 2v2 here.
you do have the Newt that was able to rotate first, but James is taking a lot of poke here and a stun.
Oh, up and down he goes. Osiris off the board already, up into the sky. Aladdin trying to make some way out of it, but Newt has escaped for now. The rest of the troops are in. Rapids picks up a second. Cole falls down. Merlin retreats, and the spicy rocks will be claimed this time around for the Order side.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, we saw, and we talked about it too, Newt's clear is so strong early, that rotation from mid lane was guaranteed. Even though James and Evil Cole clear out that solo side lane to try to keep Manos' solo laner away from those rocks, the rest of Manos was ready to make that rotation. And without a good way to get around Rapids, right? This stun from the Odin is devastating when you know that you have the root from this Newt right around the corner. Wabi-Sabi losing a little bit of tempo in this early game. They scale super well towards the late game, so kind of want to see them just take a chill pill, right? You have your kill in duo, maybe try to force something over there, but not on the right side.
The root Newt, if you will, instead of the Newt.
I would.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad we're on the same page.
We're right, 100%.
It's gonna be the totem here, as well as the Order side continues So, well, actually, hold on a second. Here's an interesting thought. Wabi-Sabi's still
Mhm.
300 gold in the lead, 3,000 gold in the lead. In fact, despite some early losses, this has been a slow and continuous gold drain in favor of the Chaos side.
How much of that has to do with that early pressure that we saw come out from Alec and Briand, right? I mean, there's so much kill potential between a Sobek and a Ho Yi. Once a pluck is landed, Dino K and Sulfurs need to be very careful. There it is.
Back in,
There it
but the
goes.
jump's gonna find him fine. Yeah, Cerberus, he's not too worried at this point. Maybe if that stun had to come out a little sooner from Hoyi, he could have been in some trouble, but for now, the damage not quite high enough. I'll let you return to what you were saying.
Well, as I was saying before, the Ho Yi, the Sobek, the 3,000 gold lead, I like the fact that Wabi-Sabi is going to be able to continuously look for camps.
It's another big fight here on the left-hand side. The ultimates have been dropped here. Dino is in a lot of trouble, but both the supports are chasing down the ADCs. Only one of them is going to find their mark, though, and now this lead from Wabi-Sabi starts to make sense, and it's grown by another 1,000 gold. As the Chaos side start to run away with this, despite what we've seen in mid, despite what we've seen in the solo lane. The monkeys are bleeding all around the map here. Well, all around the map here. The left lane, this duo side of the map is really starting to ramp up. And these are two characters you cannot afford to let off a leash. Oh, yeah? Are you kidding me?
I'm sure you heard the question in my voice as I see the Kerberos throw out the ultimate there. What Sulfurs and Dino K have in this dual lane? Yes, you do have a lot of damage, but there's a fair amount of safety that you can find with two characters with jumps that you can get away from a pluck and get away from the damage of a Ho Yi. Committing like that gets very dangerous, especially when you know that the Sobek and Ho Yi got those early kills to start off.
Down under the tower, Rapids locks him down, and the nuts from the sky will finish him off. Under the tower, this is such an unfortunate situation for Pacera, but I think as long as he can stay competitive with the nut at the very least, going into the late game, this isn't necessarily an awful situation, but Wabi-Sabi have to start sharing the love. They've got some gains on duo side, but that needs to translate elsewhere onto the map, or they're going to find themselves way behind later on.
Mid ritual is spawning 20 seconds or so. That's going to be a very contentious spot for both of these teams, given that Monos will have a bit of an advantage in terms of their mid jungle lead. It'll be interesting to see how Wabi-Sabi are able to keep them away from the pad as long as possible. What's noteworthy about getting this pad too are those pushers that move down the map and how it opens it up to maybe take a look at some objectives. The fact that Wabi-Sabi's dual lane is looking as good as they are could be enough to dissuade Monos from getting too crazy.
In the mid lane, it's an ultimate from Cerberus. The damage from Spreen is too good for Brahand to get away from. I think that might be the whole fight in a nutshell, pardon the pun. Wabi-Sabi's backed off. There's nothing that Cole can do. He doesn't have the location. At least they can come over here to the right-hand side and get these rocks, but Merlin can only watch on in horror. He doesn't have the damage yet. It's too early for him to be online.
It was almost a given that Monos was going to walk away with that pad. This Newt is very strong, already has their Staff of Mirrodin unlocked, so dash and dash, stun and stun. Now Monos wants to take a look at that Ho Yi, maybe cut Alec down to size. You see Odin chilling around that left-hand side, knowing that the pushers are going to be coming up down these lanes. I wonder if we'll get a chance to see a Gold Fury push from Monos Cabezones.
Potentially, yeah. Looks like the grouping might be there. Odin has made his way over here to the left-hand side. It actually looks like they are going to dissuade it. However, look at where Aladdin has positioned himself, moving towards the left-hand side. Well, of course, as soon as I start pointing it out, Aladdin decides now is the perfect time to back, so he will be gone.
Junglers.
Junglers, am I right? Unreliable.
That's what I'm saying. Right? I mean, every time I'm like, yo, can I get a gank? And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, my 7th speed buff is up. I gotta clear that. My bad. I gotta go take that away. Oh, never change. We love that from you guys. Keep out there in the jungle, keeping it up. It's interesting to see, though, that these pushers, we get to see some damage put onto this mid tower, but no major objectives pulled or any big plays made on the map. Monos is very happy to kind of chill. And yet, Wabi-Sabi is 5k gold in the lead. Is Alec just that big? 2 levels up, 2 kills, got the Devos online, but that has to be... Oh, It's because they're missing a player on the thing. I see.
Oh, right. So it's not actually tracking who's missing. It's the solo laner. It's not actually
Thor.
tracking Thor's gold. Heed is not on the map.
Heed is
does not
gone.
exist. Heed, my warning. Heed's not there. Actually, I don't even think that's Heed. I'm looking at the wrong team. That is, of course, Heed. Rapids chasing down James alongside his solo laner, although the ultimate might just find Osiris safe. Yeah, just enough speed to get away from him. The blue buff will be forfeit for it, as will the imps. And Monos Cabezones, oh, so this very much changes the narrative. We were stunned. I think we were both very confused.
I was
of how
confused.
Wabi-Sabi were able to build this lead. And well, with the Gold Fury in hand here, potentially, this could explain how they're able to make it up. I have no way of knowing how much the solo laner is worth, but I think it would be safe to assume that both these teams are around about even at this point.
Well, Wabi-Sabi, with that Gold Fury, should be able to help tie up their gold deficit. But with James falling down to Heed in the solo lane, that's going to help exacerbate the Thor's lead? Question mark? The IRS would like to have a word with you, my friend, because it would appear that you are completely off the books, and that is a no-no. Do you have the IRS in the Europeans?
Do we have the IRS?
So sorry if you do.
Europe itself, I guess, might do as a concept, like the European Union. We have HMRC, His Majesty's Revenue Tax and Revenue Service.
Good save.
So sorry. God save the Queen. You know, I can't. Old habits die hard.
Mm. Lot of
Pivot from that one. Yeah, carry on. Find the thread. Go for it.
11 minutes, 5-4. So far, so good. Well, Monos has been playing the map very well. But you know what I haven't seen too much of is Rapids deploying the wall to force fights, to force objectives. And it's interesting that Wabi-Sabi, through everything, through the deficit that the IRS tells us was there, managed to get in that Gold Fury. And you know what enables that is the fact that they have this Merlin, a whole bunch of bird damage, a Stampede Pop from Sobek.
Yeah, looks like they really want to go hyper-aggressive here onto Dino. The damage is definitely there. Hold him back. I don't think the Impale's gonna do much to dissuade Cole. Max range. That lamp itself doesn't even need to lock you in there. Sometimes the genie just comes around and slaps you in the face with cold, hard brass.
I wish for a left hook, wha-bam! And he is down for the count. So far, though, Monos was able to, off of that, take a look at that Pyromancer, clean up the rocks on the right side. So they're splitting the map pretty effectively, but it looks like Wabi-Sabi should be able to find their just desserts here if they're able to find either Kerberos or a T1 tower.
Yeah, with a little bit of trepidation in the early game, it looks like they finally found their stride. Rapids, though, getting a trade on the other side of the map is going to be interesting, too, in fact, in favor of Monos. They're going to be able to pick up this tower here. It's a tower for a tower, but it's a 2-for-1. Overall, still very much favors the monkeys over here. Slightly. I mean, still not a great position. Dino is really starting to fall behind here. Not the position you want your ADC to be in, for sure.
Especially a character like On Her, who once they're able to really get the ball rolling, and you kind of expect to have that ball going right away, is able to deal so much damage, especially due to the fact that they just strip protections off of every spear that lands. That's a character that you want being able to get active sooner rather than later. But it's offset by the fact that Heed on this Thor pick, level 14. I mean, that guy's huge. James is only level 12 at this point. So once Heed starts rotating to some of these bigger engagements, then Monos is really going to start to control these fights.
I just wish that we could see Heed's build. I don't know if he's going for a tankier setup or more damage. At this point, with a 2-level lead over his solo laner, this could really start to impact the rest of the map if he's able to rotate it through and make use of it. But that's only if he has a little bit of damage in his build. At this point, his damage is going to start becoming a little less relevant, but that ultimate, the wall, definitely are never going to lose their relevancy. Wabi-Sabi are going to have to start watching out for it, but it doesn't look like Heed is really ready to leave his lane just yet.
A lot of farming to be had, and nothing on the map to really fight for so far. Gold Fury spawning in 10 seconds. Wabi-Sabi did take it the last time, so you have to wonder if they're going to try to sneak it again, but something tells me that Monos isn't going to let that happen. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. It's looking like a D side, pal. I ain't gonna hold you. And Manos Cabezones, even though they're on her, is pretty behind. The fact that this Newt Odin combo is so far ahead, they don't even have to take the gold itself. They can posture for it, look for a fight. They have great team fight capability, bunch of
Yeah.
circles, very easy to land. They could just force Wabi-Sabi into a position of, hey, if I try to go for this, you're gonna stop me? Yes? Cool, I'm gonna kill you. No? All right, I get to have this for free.
Yeah, it almost feels like Wabi-Sabi take the other trade, right? The Naga is up over here towards the Fire Giant pit, still gives a lot of benefits. Some might argue here at the 15-minute mark, more valuable than this Gold Fury. Does look like the posturing's gonna begin from Wabi-Sabi over towards the left-hand side, but hold on, Rapids has come to join them. He's looking for something very smartly, intuitively, not quite. There is a ward down that spots out Rapids, and will sound the retreat for the red side players for now. Gold Fury has been started. The Monkeys Wabi-Sabi have to figure out what they're going to do. And it does look like the right-hand side is their target of choice, but Heat is still there.
Evil Cole, Sobek, lurking waters, try to take it away, but the Gold Fury was dropped and picked back up again. Wabi-Sabi?
Discipline. No, there's no way the Hou-Yi is going to get away from this one. Actually, hold on. Beautiful peel from Sobek. Spreen goes up into the side to try and find him, but it is a 1-for-1 trade. Wabi-Sabi get the other objective, but Burhend stays behind in the Gold Fury pit for the rest of his team. Now, trying to move back into to find something more. Rapids is in a bit of trouble. The stun from behind is good. Over the wall goes Hou-Yi, trying to find a little bit more. There's going to be Sulfurs. Too many leaps, too many cooks, too many things trying to find. There's so much chase potential, but that should finally end it off. Wabi-Sabi and Manos Cabezones do walk away with an objective each. 1 kill on the side of Order. But I would almost argue that picking up the Naga here was more valuable. They're looking for a tier 1 in mid.
But they did also find that ritual and pop it right away. Not able to find too many kills off of it, but I agree with you, honestly. And I feel like it's a popular school of thought as well. The Moonlight Queen Naga, it gives you, gold and stuff, but also that consumable, but 5% strength and int for the rest of the game. Think about the team composition that Wabi-Sabi have. Merlin, Aladdin, Osiris, everybody can use that to its fullest extent. We are late game scalers. That is a late game scaling buff. So it just makes this Wabi-Sabi team composition all the more terrifying for Manos if Manos gives them that chance to breathe. And honestly, Wabi-Sabi has had a lot of breathing room so far. It feels like Manos, even though they have had a lead, they have good fights, they could have good rotations, they haven't been able to stop Wabi from staying competitive.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right? Wabi-Sabi, they've kind of weathered the early storm. What are the biggest threats, or have been the biggest threats around the map so far for Manos? It's been Rapids on this Odin. It's been Heed in the solo lane on Thor. Both characters that have utility in the late game, but aren't necessarily going to be your biggest damage dealers, right? Spreen has been able to do a lot here, and I think this is where a lot of the late game potential for Manos Cabezones is going to come from. But on the other side, look at this. Aladdin, Merlin, Hou-Yi, 3 really late game hyper carry characters that Wabi-Sabi can really look to position. And the further we get, the more I'm confident that Wabi-Sabi are going to be able to do some big things in the next 10 or so minutes.
I am expecting big things. That is to be sure. I'm expecting some action over here on the right side. Looks like Heed and Rapids. Caught between a rock and a hard place here. There goes the lurking waters.
There's lots of people, and there's 2 more blue side players looking to make their way over. Merlin's calling out, so the boys know to retreat. The cage comes down.
Oh, that's
Monolith in place. No one's able to get away. It's just Sobek running for his life, but the spin and the dash is good for now. Cole does fall down, the first one to go, and it's going to be a second as well. Sobek in the watery grave as the rest of Wabi-Sabi now trying to run away. It will look like the end of the push, and a little bit off the mark. Alec nearly could have had a moment, and what could have been a pyro has now turned into a potential fire giant.
Wabi-Sabi is around in the area, right? You have Alec and El Pasero kind of watching from the sidelines, but no good way to get in. Rapids pretty low, and Fire Giant down to half.
It's already burning low. No one really from Wabi-Sabi wants to step up into this, but it looks like Monos are playing it safe. They want to jump back. Over the wall goes Hou-Yi. He's safe for now, but the Fire Giant has been fully reset. The health bar is climbing up, and now the blue team, they've decided to drop it on maybe an abundance of caution. Maybe the perfect positioning from Wabi-Sabi. Almost felt like Monos Cabezones could have forced that Fire Giant for free.
I mean, nobody from Wabi-Sabi had their ultimates available. The question is, does Monos know that, right? Staring at their composition. Looks like Wabi-Sabi will be able to start picking up this Pyromancer as well. Springs around the corner to look for a steal, but the Crocodile?
Up into the sky goes Nut, trying to pull someone in off the mark. Heat is too, a little bit far away. Pyro has been dropped. It looks like both teams are happy with that. Wabi-Sabi just wanted to interrupt the objective. Cabezones, they had a great opportunity, but it's been either too cautious or great play from Wabi. I can't quite figure it out just yet. That stops them from getting the stuff after the stuff. No pyro, no fire. Nothing else has been done to capitalize off that awesome team fight that they did. And now we're back to the neutral game. Everyone's split up and back to lanes.
Maybe we could take a look at the Gold Fury, a consolation prize, not a bad one, mind you. The second Gold Fury pip will be able to offer some increased damage and protections for your minions, but Wabi-Sabi here to show up, not able to confirm it, but maybe they got a chase.
Yeah, there's just too much movement from Cabezones. They can get away too much, and while there's a lot of movement on Wabi as well, when you got two things moving at the same distance, they don't tend to get much closer to one another. Over here in the right lane, though, James, I'm not sure what the idea here is. The proxy farm against the Thor 2 levels, your senior, doesn't necessarily seem like the best option. Takes the tower shot. Yeah, this is looking a bit dicey. Does bait it out, waits for the minions to get in. There's no teammates in sight, though. I can't imagine this Osiris is getting away from this, surely.
Well, he's very tanky with a lot of mitigations with the passive, so he's wasting a lot of time.
No
he got
way.
the stun.
Pyro!
I mean, Wabi walks away with Pyro. I'll sack my solo for a Pyro any day of the week. I don't care who you are. That's a good trade. That's a W trade. Actually, that's stocks.
Yeah.
100%. Wasted so much time to make that happen. Very good stuff.
So much time, so much commitment. They dropped Thor ult, they dropped Newt ult for that as well. That's a lot for them to commit. Now,
this is a good
comes
fight.
This wave of Wabi-Sabi. There's not a lot of resources left remaining. If they don't get heed, they will at least get sulfurs deleted from the battlefield. 3 heads are better than 1, but this dog has 0 right now on the gray screen.
Sulfurs is going to be dead for 25 or so, and James is coming up right about now. This could be an FG pull for Wabi-Sabi, especially because Onher shows himself on the left side of the map. We know that Wabi has good burn with this Merlin Fire Giant.
There's 2 people here, and the 2 people you do not want to contest this from you is Spreen and Thor, and it's going to be Brand to secure it. Sobek, the last hit that will secure it now for the Chaos team. Cabezones, they have to back away. This is a dominating position now for Wabi-Sabi. There are 4 towers still available on the map. If they know what's good for them, this is a good opportunity to back, get some items, and then leverage that Fire Giant to take down these towers one at a time.
I mean, that was just stuff after the stuff. You were talking about it, what we were missing from Monos there. Wabi-Sabi, listening in, goes, oh yeah, you know what? If they just decided to double ult my 0-4 Osiris, why not take my, Fed Ho Yi and my Merlin who's doing well and an Aladdin who can use some gold and just go kill somebody? And the fact that Monos wasn't really prepared for an FG pull, hold on a second.
Yeah, caught out of position. Sobek up a river with no paddle. 1v4 fighting for his life into the cage. Down goes the Suns. But sorry, Alec, there's no escape from this one. Baby cage down. 2 players with the Fire Giant taken away from them very notably. This is the important one, buddy, because the ADC is gone and another player's been caught out by himself. Now, luckily, this is Aladdin. I don't think there's much problem for him, but does wish for the cooldowns to come back. Heat is in the sky. Ultimate off the mark. Cole's going to walk away scot-free, but 3 people are down. Check the right-hand side, though, because Osiris taking some structures.
It was a beautiful Fire Giant play for Wabi-Sabi, followed by maybe a little bit of a messy assumption that Monos wouldn't challenge them anywhere on the map. But now Wabi-Sabi trying to delay the back of Monos and chasing after them. But is this a fight that you want to take a 2v4 even with FG? I mean, Monos doesn't want to have it, so they'll be able to back up completely. But it does feel like it was a little bit of a missed opportunity for Wabi-Sabi there. Now we're just left with FG buff for 3 people, maybe 2 minutes left for it. The only real objective that we're able to look at this point is maybe Gold Fury, Ancient Gold Fury, mind you, or a Pyromancer. And Monos Cabezones, I feel like they could take the fight against Wabi-Sabi still. Their flowchart is still so good. You have crazy team fight ultimates to throw out there, so don't be afraid.
Well, there's still about a minute or so left on this Fire Giant. The dagger is available as well, but it looks like Monos Cabezones are coming in, caught against the wall. Aladdin has been pinned down, forced to beads, but the damage in return is going to be too much for Sulfurs to handle. Down he falls. Merlin, credit for the fast one. The suns are raining down. The sky is literally falling right now as the damage comes through. Rapids finds two before being shut down by James. Never mind that Spreen, the nuts off the board, and the damage is still piling down. Health bars are being melted by the moment, and it's just one player left standing, and that player just happens to be in the truest baby cage. Heed, I'm so sorry, my guy, but this time the lamp will be your demise.
I mean, Monos had really solid damage in that fight. Newt was throwing out some crazy damage numbers, but unfortunately, we talked about it, late game. You know, what do we classify late game here in Smite 2? Is it the timer? Is it the gold? Is it the map state? I'll tell you something right now. Late game is when your Aladdin has two stacking items that are fully stacked, ready to go with a Heart Seeker, and is in your face, beating you up.
Titan's
Wished
Bane
for
on
the
way
left
as
and the
well.
right hook. Like, it is, yeah, it's not, we're here. And we know how scary this is for Monos, and now it's their fears come true. Merlin was able to throw out damage. Aladdin's able to go into the backline. Doesn't matter that your Odin's 9-1 if the rest of the team isn't able to follow up with him and deal the damage that you need. So Wabi-Sabi not only find that Ancient Gold Fury, we get to take a look at this Pyromancer, and Monos just have to take a step back and say, okay, let's finish up some farm. Let's try to get some level 20s and back up.
Yeah, and in about, I think it's about 30 or so seconds from now, that Fire Giant will come back up. There'll still be plenty of advantage to get. I'm sure Wabi-Sabi could be doing something a little more proactive on the map. It is 40 seconds on the Fire Giant, so we'll be coming up soon. It's maybe 1.5 trips to base to buy some items. This is going to be important, though. Look at the map here, Musi, because these extra siege minions are coming down the lanes. They're going to create a lot of pressure. It's already forced Dino over towards the left-hand side to try and clear it off before this Fire Giant spawns just 20 seconds from now.
Osiris is pushed up very far by himself. Alex is going to TP in, but getting dove on.
This could be a repeat if they can capitalize off the commitment onto Osiris. It could be big already. Rapids has fallen down. Odin no longer on the map, and Spreen has just taken a massive chunk of his health as their Guardian falls. The Fire Giant looks ever tastier. Two Nagas still roaming down these lanes. Mid 2-2, under pressure. Fire Giant under duress. Dino has to retreat here to mid to stop it from falling, and there is an iron wall of Osiris and Aladdin ready to stop any order side player from coming into this objective that has already fallen.
Dagger is going to go back to Evil Cole, so now the Aladdin will be able to just dive to their heart's content. Very scary moment for Monos here, and it feels like we did hit that tipping point, right? You had almost a man advantage between Monos and Wabi-Sabi, but they still weren't able to find even a singular kill in that last engagement. Now Wabi-Sabi gets to trim the map of these T2s and maybe take a look at a bird if they want to have it. I do like the defense for Monos here, but you got to be careful.
Up into the sky, Nuts trying to find something. Spreen, the damage isn't quite there. Aladdin moves away. That was a panic response from me, seeing the Thorol on the ground. But no, it was a teammate. He just coming in to give his ADC a little bit of a love tap as Wabi-Sabi start tearing down these structures and moving towards the bird.
Staff of Mirrodin pop there for Spreen. Get a double root, but a pluck from the Sobek.
Brenda's dead, and it's already 1-for-1. Spreen has fallen down, but this siege is already going poorly. He just find another one, and look at the damage already falling down onto Osiris. Chino is in a bad situation. James will finish off with the side. The bird has fallen, but two people have gone down. Evil Cole comes back in, finds Rapids this time around. There was a part of me hoping that was Monos Cabezones coming back for more, but in fact it is a 3-for-3 trade, but he locked in the map. Sulfur's not able to do much against Evil Cole. Two surviving players from Wabi-Sabi does mean that they're not going to be able to push for more. The Phoenix is still up. Heed is still up. I'm not sure how his ultimate is looking, but they have no minions. Wabi-Sabi are going to struggle to crack this tower.
Like I said, Manos Cabezones have a great tower defense between Newt, the Odin, the Kerberos. Like, these are all team fight ultimates that kind of dictate where you need to be standing. If you can make that hot zone around your Phoenix and make it so that Alec can't reliably put damage into the bird, and you're able to harass out El Pasero, that makes it so that Wabi Sabi's main win con for taking away a structure like that is winning a fight beforehand. And when you have that bird sitting behind you threatening so much damage, it just makes it really difficult for Wabi-Sabi to actually walk in, walk under, and go for it. Even though Manos Cabezones got a little bit split up in the fight and almost panned out to their benefit, right? Dino K was able to allure away the Osiris, and Brihen got immediately blown up. So all in all, from Manos Cabezones, a great defense. You didn't lose any birds. You lost a couple towers, and there's only a minute left for Wabi Sabi's FG power play. Maybe they get an Ancient Gold free, but they could try to go for the defense again here.
Yeah, this is absolutely what they needed to do, and this is the strength of their comp, right? You've got big walls, you've got two big walls, in fact. Odin Cage and Thor Wall can both create great barriers to lock people in or out of the Phoenix. That's the important part, right? Even Osiris can only take so many tower shots before falling down, though. That being said, with the Ancient Fury buff in play, these Phoenixes are going to look a lot easier to crack.
I'm going to let that sit for a minute. Crack, bird, Phoenix, egg joke. You know what, Blazy? I like you.
It's a cycle.
That's good.
Yeah,
it's a cycle.
It's a cycle of
Which
eggs.
one came first, do you think?
The egg, obviously, because there had to have been a proto-Phoenix that then laid... Well, yeah, with, similar genetically, but needed one more evolutionary tweak to get to the modern Phoenix, so it had to
like
lay that egg.
Wings.
Exactly, right? So a Phoenix, or a proto-Phoenix and a tower had a very steamy night, and then there was an egg that spawned into 3 individual Phoenixes.
31 minutes, 14 to 18. Get the Caden Yoakum off the side.
He's broken, chat. I got it. 31 minutes and 55 seconds in here. It is an unknown level of difference in terms of gold because Heed is refusing to pay taxes. And as we know, taxes are the good guys here, and that's why Manos Cabezones are in a slightly better position than they might look. They've got great defensive capabilities, but with the Fire Giant just 40 seconds away, it should be the last one. Ancient Primal Fire here as well. If they weren't able to crack those Phoenixes last time, Wabi-Sabi surely will with the help of Primal.
As Dila would say, EFG. It's in the game, or it will be, in about 20 seconds or so. Manos Cabezones, we feel like they should still have a strong fight around these objectives. I look at this team comp, and I get confused as to why they don't, but Wabi-Sabi, their team has been doing a great job putting a lot of pressure on top of Spreen and on top of Dino especially. This Honor hasn't really had a chance to execute it all. And until they get that combat blink online, I see that mode of chaos in the last slot there. It makes them very susceptible to just getting jumped on by Evil Cole. So Wabi-Sabi, if they could focus out Spreen and Dino, it looks like a good fight for them.
They need this one. Fire Giant's already at half, and looks like Manos Cabezones are looking to try and get in, but the damage has come to them. Osiris already here to try and zone. The Fire Giant has now been completely dropped. Newt in the sky, but look at her health bar. It's already so low. She has to do so much, but as soon as Spring drops to the ground, she's dead. 2 more drop in the blink of an eye. 3 people are stunned here, but Sulfurs isn't looking like he's having a good time. He's melting to the smelly finger, but Heed clips the ADC's wings. It's a 3-for-2 trade, and it looks like Manos Cabezones might walk away here with some level of dignity to try and defend these Phoenixes, but the Fire Giant is still all to play for because Aladdin wished for immortality, and he's back already to fight.
Looks like Heed and James gonna brawl it out for one last time, just for the old show of it, before he tries to loop back around to take a look at that EFG. Merlin still being alive means that we have the damage to burn this. You don't need Alec necessarily, but Manos Cabezones don't have the diamonds to be able to get up to this.
They're closing in. It looks like already one's plucked away. Heed has to run away. Look at the Fire Giant. It's so low, 900 HP. It's going to go down. Never mind, it's still up. Cole finishes it up, and it will be Wabi-Sabi to finish off that Fire Giant. The rest of the fight's got to unfold well for Manos Cabezones if they want to have a chance at defending these Phoenixes, but Sulfurs is so low. Dino has already fallen. Heed has already fallen. The rest of Wabi-Sabi are chasing down the dog. He will go down, but two are left standing. Rapids and Spreen, the last bastions against an entirely EFG squad, minus the ADC. That could be the saving grace for Monos Cabezones here.
But you do have Merlin, who has been pumping a ridiculous amount of damage, even in that fight before the EFG was finally confirmed. El Parcero's name kept showing up in that kill feed. It is very difficult to avoid that Merlin damage inside the jungle. And now that he has a chance to really get pumping, I mean, Ratatouille, Obshard's there, and they've got the blink to stay safe. El Parcero is looking pretty good in these fights. Wabi-Sabi with EFG at this point, you're walking it down mid lane, right? Alec doesn't have it. Pshaw, who cares? Run it down, find somebody.
It's gotta be, right? Earlier on, I was chastising Monos Cabezones for playing with an abundance of caution. Here, Wabi-Sabi, they take the Fire Giant. There are 3 people dead on the Order side, and you're not running to pick up at least one of these birds? Surely you at least want to get that right side Phoenix, open it up a little bit, force them to consider their options, but instead they wait for Monos Cabezones to respawn. They have more opportunities for them now, and sure, the Gold Fury will be stripped away again. These towers will lose more protection again, but Wabi-Sabi weren't able to break the base last time. Why is this one going to be different?
Well, I mean, this time you've got a crazy amount of int, strength, health regen on your back to help enable your fight. So Wabi-Sabi on this siege, especially with these pushers, should be walking away with this with at least a bird taken off the board, right? You would think, you would hope. But for Monos Cabezones, still got Shell, or rather the Cage. You've still got the Hell's Torment, so maybe you can make something work.
Looks like the left-hand side is where the siege is going to unfold to begin with. Already the ultimate from Cerberus off the board. Up into the sky goes Heed, but he's not going in. Anvil and Dawn is off the board. The bird is half HP. 4 people are sitting in this Phoenix. The wave is a little bit far away, but it's not going to stop Osiris from jumping in. James has taken control of the aggro. Thrown back is one player, Heed, off the dragon. Goodbye, Dino, as well as the rest of Monos Cabezones fall. What looked like it could have been a competitive defense has turned into a bloodbath. As the support goes down as well, that's going to be all she wrote, and Wabi-Sabi will walk away with game number 1.
They were able to keep their heads above the water just long enough to hit their power spikes and get their late game hyperscalers across the finish line. And Alec in particular was at that finish line from minute 1, right? Finding those early kills in the dual lane, keeping constant pressure on Dino K. I really do believe that that was one of the key things that helped keep Wabi-Sabi in the game. The fact that this Hou Yi was able to constantly threaten health bars meant that Merlin and Aladdin had a chance to get the engine started.
I think, you know, I'm going to throw a little bit of blame onto Heed here, Musi. We saw him get such an incredible lead early on, but that lead was shared basically nowhere. His mid laner was, sure, getting some good kills, but that could have been pushed further. We could have seen an earlier rotation for Gold Fury based on this leverage. I mean, what? At one point, we saw him 3 levels up from his counterpart. That's a great position to be in, especially with that semi-global ultimate. We needed to see more, I think, and I think we would have loved to have seen more of Heed in
general.
I can't even talk about his build or his stats or anything that he did because he's a ghost.
Heed, the war in Bahid Say is not real. There is no war in Bahid Say.
No.
All right.
That's it. No, we can throw it to break now. Folks, we will see you after this short break for game number 2. Don't go anywhere because there's still plenty of Smite to play. Welcome back, everybody, to the Albion Giants League here in the Kaiju Division. Week 2, we have just seen game number 1 between Wabi-Sabi and Monos Cabezones. We're not wasting any time, Musi. It's, of course, Musi and me, Blazy Bard, jumping straight back into it with a first kickoff Hecate ban from Wabi-Sabi, who have, for house cleaning, chosen to do first pick, first ban for game number 2. Monos Cabezones, sorry, have chosen to be second pick for game number 2. I'll clarify. And now have banned away Humbats from the jungle and Pele from the solo.
Big reason why we see Monos Cabezones over there. Pick 2. You can see it actually right down there, grayed out. That's right. It's time for the Vault Bans conversation. Any of the picks that were locked in game 1 cannot be locked in again for game 2 or for game 3 beyond. If Monos Cabezones are able to maybe hedge a little bit of fear that they had in the last game and clean up some of the fights from before and take us to that game 3. But in terms of who else won't be played, like Blazy said, right? Hecate, Hunbots, Kali, Pele, Daji, Hercules, who's up and open? It is the same bands, isn't it?
Exact same, yeah. Word for word, same bands. Different order, same bands.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? I mean, you know,
Yeah.
if it is broke, don't let them play it.
Well, with the Vault system, we might run out of gods, as you mentioned, if we go on to the next game. Game number 3, taking away 20 gods from the... 20 gods away from the pool? That's not leaving too many left, at least characters that you want to play at this kind of level of competitiveness. Something that I would even not necessarily expect to see at this level of play. Achilles, first pick here.
I mean, I like Achilles. I'm a big fan. First pick?
Yeah,
that's interesting. We have Discordia as a mid laner still up and available. That could have been something very contended for. The Jingwei that's even highlighted for Monos would have been very solid to have in your ADC. You know, Wabi-Sabi can flex this Achilles, and I'll be interested to see where it goes, but I feel like there were a lot of other picks that maybe I would have wanted first.
Yeah, I mean, Jingwei, I think is an excellent first pick here from Monos Cabezones. A strong ADC, great rotation ability, good self-peel. Loki locked in alongside. Again, probably not my first port of call in terms of junglers, but hey, Loki has seen a lot of success in ranked and in casuals as well. Not necessarily a bad pick. The Agni, though, Wabi-Sabi, we can finally agree on something. I think this is a phenomenal pick. Agni, I think, might be one of the best mid laners in the game right now, and I think it is purely based on the fact that he is one of the few mid laners with mobility.
I mean, he's got that dash and the self-peel with the smog. If you want to talk about one of the best anything, Mercury being the third pick.
This was on the table.
Even though, yeah, this was here first.
This was here the whole time.
So this is some crazy game 2 picks right off the... I feel like we jumped all the way to game 3, but sometimes comfort over meta. If you know that you're going to play well with what you're familiar with, lock it in. Right? But I'll tell you something right now. Mercury hits like a semi-truck that will put you into the next life. If you want to talk about scalers that Wabi-Sabi had last game, that is a scaler and a half.
Well, I mean, even Agni, right? But with Agni, it's unlike Merlin. This is a character that can also do crazy things in the early game. Agni, going back, I mean, I'm going to harp on this point one more time, Musi, just real quick. Has consistency. He's good in the early game. He's good in the mid game. He's great in the late game. On the other side of this, Sun Wukong finally picking up a monkey to their name. And the Ganesh as well. I like Ganesh. I think it's looking strongest with Aspect in that support role. I'm liking this draft a lot from Monos Cabezones right now.
Evil Ganesh for Monos Cabezones. That could be a good pickup here. But what I especially like about this Ganesh, and it's what I was worried Wabi-Sabi might pick up, is that Ganesh is really good into the Loki. Really good into the Loki, especially with that silence. You can just kind of spin around in a circle and take away the invis. So now Wabi-Sabi is going to have a little bit more trouble locking down the Loki, who is good, I believe, into the Agni, because you've got the cripple on the ultimate, right? Agni's one of their strengths is their dash as well. No longer. Hunt them down, right? And then you also have the Sun Wukong, which does great in solo lane in terms of just going even and late game, being able to pick out a squishy with the Blink Tiger stun.
Yeah, it's a dangerous pick, and especially the extended range of the Ryu Jingu Bang can be a little bit off. But I mean, we're deep enough into Smite 2 to where it's probably not throwing many people off. But even me, sometimes my Smite 1 brain is like, this is far enough away. You know, I'm in safe distance from Wukong, and then I get clopped around the head. But I'm overall enjoying this comp. I am very interested in this new Wamuzi. There's no way this is in the ADC role, right? There's a Jingwei on the board.
Maybe
No
it
way.
could. Jingwei mid? I mean, Jingwei with the passive, right? She can actually get all the way up to that mid T1 pretty easily, right?
I don't
Like, she can get
know.
there pretty good, but no, I think you're right, right? Nuwa mid lane. The question is, Nuwa mid lane, aspect or no aspect? She did see
Yeah.
a shift recently with her aspect, so it'll be interesting to see where Monos wants to go with that. And we'll have to get in game to re-hover that because it was a paragraph and a half. So we'll be able
Yeah.
to walk that journey together. But you know who does well into that Nuwa Blazy? Something that was already locked in and picked, the Gamoja. Good walls
Yeah.
here for Wabi-Sabi.
Again, yeah, it's on the flip side, right? Walls last time for Monos Cabezones. This time, those water walls parting the sea, trapping, I think, 100% of the cast here from Monos Cabezones outside of Jing ult, Loki ult, Somersault
Ganesh
Cloud.
Dash.
Okay, all right. So, okay, they will have a way out, but this is at least forcing out an ultimate, right? And we can see it in game. I really want to see if we see some of these aspects, Nuwa specifically. And oh, thank you very much, Tahid, for joining us. Wait a minute. No, this is Alec on the aspect for Agni, in fact.
Meanwhile, we get a W hover from Test. Thank you, Test Eye. Aspect of Shining Mist. So, Mysterious Fogs, it's going to go a little bit forward and then it stops. So it kind of functions like the Danzaburo bush you can kind of shoot out of there. But she stays stealth. So it's kind of hard to lock her down when she's in there. Shining Metal and Fire Shards. So her 3 and her 4 scale with attack power. So that's basic attack damage power. And proc item attack effects. So think the Chin's Blade, think the Braggies, the Tearfing, right? So she's going to be going this on-hit build instead of the crit build that we were going with the last aspect Nuwa. So I'm actually really curious to see how that translates for mid lane, right? Because it's all about abilities and throwing things out and clearing waves and yada yada, not holding left click and strangling them by the throat. So really excited to see what Spreen does with this pick.
Well, it looks like Paracero is also doing a similar thing, right? These are both, for all intents and purposes, one of them might be wearing the skin of a mage, but these are both ADCs. We have 2 attack speed based carries in the mid roll. Now, obviously, Neith has, similar to Nuwa, spaces she can go attack speed, she can go damage, but this is a similar look. And double ADC metas are definitely something that Smite is not unfamiliar with. What these are going to do, Musi, is melt objectives.
Yes, I was just thinking we are on the same page there. And Monos Cabezones, the objectives is something that we didn't get a chance to see from them too much in the last game, but now with this Nuwa Jingwei especially, combination of on-hit effects from items and the crit that Jingwei will naturally be building, they should be able to melt through a gold for your Pyro, nay, even a Fire Giant, fairly effectively once they're able to get some items online. So for Nuwa, it's going to be things like a Braggies, a Tearfing, a Chin's Blade, anything for on-hit effects versus a Jingwei, Deathbringer.
A little bit of damage here in the jungle. Mercury put in a bad spot. The rotation back around could be dangerous here. Rapids has found him again. Speedy delivery is here. But he's going back around. Cole is looking to re-engage. He's got no CC, but the dual lane is starting to come over. Surely at this point, he's too far gone, but the dash forward stunned through with the noxious fumes. Do they have the damage to catch Rapids? I'm not sure if they do, but the throwback is good. Even through the beads. 3 levels, no ultimate available, and with a massive commitment and a big rotation, Wabi-Sabi kicked this game off with a bang.
First Blood Gold, how much is it worth? Is it worth that full wave that we're sinking into the T1? They lose 3 melees. That's worth, you know what? Sure, why not? And especially because Rapids was biting off a bit more than they could chew there too.
and Mercury is a whole level up now, right? This is important. Mercury is a late game character. We saw this with Aladdin, right? We
Yes.
saw this exact same thing. Evil Cole got 1 kill around the 2-minute mark as well. In the mid lane that time, actually, hold on, he'd in some trouble. Never mind, the bull will get him out of that one. But point being that this is a great opportunity for him to scale. James, though, in some trouble.
You got James taking a bunch of poke here, and the new ult already online. Not enough damage to get through there. Still 100 health to their name, but with rocks spawning, that is going to give Manos Cabezones first crack at that. Knowing that Wabi-Sabi will be able to take those TPs back to lane, I wonder if they'll be able to go for some invades as well.
Over towards the Imps, and the Spicy Rocks will be claimed by Manos Cabezones this time around. A more accurate reflection of the state of gold here. Nua in some distress. El Pasero as well in some trouble, but the damage is flying on both sides. Cole finds himself stuck between 3 as the Chaos side collapse and take down the Mercury. That lead now disapparated.
Meanwhile, Wabi-Sabi making a play for that purple buff. They are able to steal it away, so not all hope is lost here for Wabi-Sabi. It is unfortunate there too. El Pasero kind of in a weird spot after the brands are taken off the board, standing up above that neutral buff, the rotating neutral buff there. Kind of a tough spot to be in, and it puts Evil Cole in such a position where they go to help their friend, and they don't have a backflip to their name, right? Their dash is very easily interrupted, so they get caught out, they get put down. Suddenly, the board levels out. And as far as who's able to kind of pick up the pieces and take back control of the map state, Manos Cabezones have the timer on those firebrands. So that makes me think that now Rapid should be able to take that and start snowballing a little bit of a lead for themselves as long as they can keep pressure down on James.
Yeah, and this is a much different situation than we saw from them last game, right? A lot more late game focus on Cabezones this time around. Nua, especially, is really going to start swinging towards that mid-late side. So is Dino on the Jingwei. So there's a lot more potential here for them to grow into this position. Not to say that this is going anywhere, right? This is a 200 gold lead here at the 5-minute mark, folks. This is even for all intents and purposes, but it's good to theorize and it's good to have a look at where these pressure points are going to be, because I think there's going to be a lot of onus on Rapids here in the early game, and that weight is going to move onto the shoulders of the carry players in the late.
Especially thinking about where our next engagement is going to be, right? Hold on, Parcero, Age is forced out, caught in the dash, looks pretty dead.
Uh-oh, the shell, the knockback, the wow, and the Neath is gone. Instead now, the re-rotation into mid. Cole has found himself in a bad spot though, despite the emoji walls. Bran is also not looking very good, but a root and an unravel will take down the elephant, but not before Rapids is able to sink his teeth into one more, and a beautiful 3-man fight results in just 1 loss. And it's the support, so who really cares?
I mean, hey, when you are the support, it's your job to die for the team. Everybody hands up. We all know it. Rapids hangs out on the left side, begging Alec to take a step beyond that tower. Whether or not he'll do it remains to be seen. But again, we saw Evil Cole die trying to save El Parcero when El Parcero was fine.
Absolutely fine. Yeah. I mean, El Pasero, he made it out. He had the shell. That was all that they needed to commit to it, but they got a little greedy. I think, I'm not sure, maybe it's a bit of riding high from last game. I can't really theorize on what Wabi-Sabi's thought process was. All I can say for sure is that 200 gold lead that we were talking about a minute ago, it's now gone. This is 1,000, nearly 2, in favor of Manos Cabezones.
Manos Cabezones are also able to find those kills around the time that it becomes night too, right? So they'll have an early advantage in terms of charging up that mid ritual. 40 seconds till that spawns. And we're talking about where the next engagement is going to be and even who gets to come out ahead. Manos Cabezones with this small lead can force the ritual in their favor. And think about what they have to be able to control the space. These Dharmic pillars from Ganesh could be exactly what they need to basically tell Wabi-Sabi, you cannot enter this circle. You cannot enter this zone without suffering the consequences. So if they're able to find that, that gets them the pushes on the field, then maybe we could take a look at a gold free. We talked about it before. They have the potential to burn an objective if they can connect to it.
Yeah, and there's only so much that they can do in trade. Hold on, Basetta once again in a lot of trouble. The shell saves him one more time, and you can't
Don't do it.
get out of the baby cage. This time, Rapids is going to pay for it with his life, though, and suddenly the onus is swapped. Look at Nuwa in trouble. The walls keep her in place long enough for James to strike at the heel. Down falls the mid lane, and now the ritual squarely in favor of the Order side on the left. However, Alec in some trouble. The damage is definitely there for him. Dino kept at bay for now, but what a swing. What an opportunity now for Wabi-Sabi.
Wabi-Sabi, wonderful rotation there from James, especially. The Achilles putting a lot of danger and threat into the Manos Cabezones mid laner there, and being able to just kind of show up and show out. I was thinking like, well, oh yeah, obviously Manos should be able to walk away with this mid ritual, but what you don't take into account is when you get a little bit too antsy and try to force a fight away from where you want to control the zone, it puts you out of position. Wabi-Sabi capitalize on it very well and find a couple of solid picks.
That's sometimes all that you need now. We're talking about a 2k gold lead that's come down by about 700 now, thanks to that fight, thanks to the ritual. And with the pressure that these Nagas are going to exceed across the map, that could surely go up a little further. Gold Fury available. And it's good. I think this is a great opportunity. And look at what that fight did for Mercury. 3 stacks now on Rage, 2 gained from that last fight. This is a critical sticking point for Mercury, often a bottleneck for getting this character online. And here we are 9 minutes into the game, you see, and we're nearly there.
3 is more than 0 and more than half of the way. El Parcero is taking a lot of damage yet again. Oh yeah, you like my math skills? We're very good at math here at AGL.
We don't do math on cast normally. I don't encourage it, but that's good. That's good math. You've shown that you can do it now.
As long as it's single digits, I think I'm okay. Yeah, that's kind of where I'd like to say it.
You have the card.
Thank you so much.
Card carrying math caster.
Pull it up, fan it out. Alec putting tower under a lot of damage here, but as it would seem, we're not really able to make any pushes on the map in terms of gold furies or anything like that. But if we were able to take away that tier 1 tower on the left, or at least threaten it to such a degree, we can open up that left side of the map to take a look at things like the purple buff and everything there. But I like the fact that Manos is staying aggressive. They're not really letting the fact that they took that early dip to heart, right? We're still trying to find where our wins are, what we can win with. Something I've noticed, Blazy. This damage, right? Super good. Still a Nuwa. Not very mobile.
Yeah, and that is true. And I guess it's interesting, right? We were harping on James for picking this super early Achilles into the first slot, but weirdly enough, Spreen ended up picking into it, right? This is a character that cannot really get away from Achilles when he's right on top of her. I mean, yeah, you're right. This is a lot of damage if they can protect the Nuwa properly. And, but I think between Ganesh and the peel from Wukong, they have a good shot at it. But it's still going to be difficult, especially with Parcero hiding in the bushes. Look at that, 60% deleted, caught by Mercury, down, doesn't even need the World Weaver.
Yeah, what do you even do about that as a Nuwa? If you don't have ult, or you try to ult, you die. Yeah, 100%. And now Wabi-Sabi gets to take first crack at this Gold Fury. You've got Yummo, Mercury, who's got 4 stacks of Rage. Manos is here, but can they make a big show of it?
Well, they're all here. This is the thing, and this Gold Fury is not dying fast enough. Dominic Pillars go through, and yeah, the spread's big. Look at the behind, though. Loki is here. Parcero is able to find the Gold Fury, but Loki's on a rampage. One goes down. The ultimate assassinates the second one. Cole can't find his blades because he's dead. They're in his back. The rest of his team are trying to run away, and it looks like Yamoja might just make it out, but the dash can find her, and the damage is just going to be too much for them. Nearly, hold on, Rapids nearly drops it, walks away, expecting the deed to be done. The shell just keeps her alive a little bit longer. And with the fight won, yeah, they lost the Gold Fury, but that's 3 kills in the bag and a Pyromancer to boot.
That's a good trade for Manos Cabezones. And Loki, okay, we're talking about how Mercury's got 4 stacks of Rage. What is 4 stacks of Rage to a jungler with 7 kills, right? This guy is huge, 2 levels ahead, and a character that's great at chasing down a lot of the picks that Wabi-Sabi have picked for themselves. Merc dash away, assassinate, right? El Parcero dash away, assassinate, boom. In this scenario, you have two of them to fire back to back. Loki's busted, but he also has the movement speed off the invisibility. Evil Cole, you want to try this? I don't know about that, man. I'd take several steps back. I want to talk about Rapids some more, not you. Calm down. But what he has now too.
Musi, he wants to be talked about. Please talk about it.
It's my turn, and I need it. Evil Cole, you are Mercury. You will have your highlight reel moment. I promise you. Take a look at the Rapids build. Look at that little drum there. We got echo stats. So now we hit somebody with our Assassinate, we hit them with our blades, our invis, and we are just getting a bunch of damage, proc after proc after proc. Really good for a combo character like Loki.
Yeah, for sure. And over here on the left-hand side, I mean, Jesus, these bolts from Jing are already hitting so hard. In fact, with the wraparound from Sulfurs, no barriers. Well, there is a barrier to your life, and it's called Loki. Rapids comes around as well. It's a lot of commitment for Brehend, but not really a lot to do here on the left-hand side. Well, scratch that. You know what? There's a purple buff, and I think that's going to be good enough. But mid lane, hold on, Spreen taken down. I think that might be worth it. A support for a mid laner? Yeah, I'll take that.
Every day of the week, Alec under some duress. I'll miss you. Goodbye, Alec. Wait.
R.I.P.
Oh no, yeah, there it goes.
Big beads though. That's what, that was 2 beads. Dino uses his as well.
Not too shabby at all. I mean, you die, but it could have been a lot worse. Something worth pointing out: 5 stacks achieved for the Rage for this Mercury. So now Evil Cold is really ready to hit. Doesn't matter if you're a tanky Sun Wukong. If this Mercury connects, it's not good news.
Yeah, over here on the right-hand side. Yeah, he's got to crit those. I mean, even at this point, right, Mercury is still a whole level down on this Sun Wukong. He's already tanky. He's got the Breastplate of Valor online already. It was always going to be a hard sell, and hold on a minute. It's a 1v1 here. Cole already taking so much damage. Who's waiting in the wing swarm? It's a Tiger form. Beads have to be popped. Ryu Jingu bang down into the grave. Goodbye, Cole. And what looked like it could have been a good moment there. I was going to bring up how many more rocks Loki had. Rapids had 14. I think Cole had 0 before this last rotation. 17, actually, on the Loki. I thought this could be a good moment for them to catch up, but it's just leading to his death. And Cole, yeah, this is a late-game character, but you got to show up to late game.
It's time to put the pedal to the metal on the farm. Get your butt on the tractor, tend to the crops, get to those camps, start milking, right? Because you need gold, you need experience, you need level 20, you need your items, we gotta go, right? And now with this Moonlight Queen Naga spawning, Manos Cabezones, even in gold, ahead in kills, this Loki is an issue and can threaten anybody that tries to stop the push for this objective. I really hope that Manos doesn't play scared again, because they backed off of it, just like the Fire Giant from last game.
Yeah, now we're all really spread out across the map. It looks like all we want to do is poke down and kill this Nuwa as often as possible. I mean, it's happening again. Evil Cole just goes on in, ults on in, kills Spreen. I mean, again, what is Spreen supposed to do about that? But it feels like this is all Cole is able to do. Now, you know, don't let me yuck his yums. He's now a level up from Loki, despite being 4-4 to Loki's 8-2. Rapids really running the map this time around, but it just feels like we haven't really seen much impact from Mercury outside of killing Spreen.
Well, born in a lab, cultivated on a little petri dish to take down this new Mercury, the natural predator, right out here in the wild.
Yeah, perfect.
So when you are able to, at the very least, make that trade, you're happy with that. And I cannot believe that Wabi-Sabi is able to pull the Moonlight Queen Naga here. What is going on?
Yeah, there's no one here. No one cares. No one's around. No one. If a Naga falls in the forest and there's no one around, did it really die? Yes, because there are now big slithering creatures pouring down your lanes. The Gold Fury goes, but so does the Pyromancer. It's a net win for Wabi-Sabi here, who walk away with 2 of the 3 objectives on the board. Most importantly, and I'll harp on it again, the Naga is an incredibly powerful objective.
I mean, strengthen in, great for your late game scaling characters. Wabi-Sabi trying to find a fight now too.
It's all popping off in the mid lane. Doesn't look like anyone's looking to really hit each other for now. Worldweaver connects into Loki.
There it
The
is.
damage comes through. Well, hold on. Evil Cole falls down. There's no connection. Rapids takes a chunk of damage, but he's alive still. He made it out. They might win the ritual here, potentially. It looked like a back came through from the Ganesh, but he decided against it. They still have some momentum here, charging forward.
Jingwei ult through the air. Yamoja walls crash down as well. Manos Cabezones just kind of back up after Wabi-Sabi's engagement. El Parcero looking pretty low too.
Yeah, the health bars are getting lower, and now they're perfect for James to start assassinating people, but the timing is right. They've held off enough time for Rapids to go back to base, recover his health, and come back to decimate the health bars of El Parcero. And now there are more shiny rocks raining from the sky. Manos Cabezones, they're not going to win the ritual, but they sure won the fight. And even now, they might still find Alec.
Alec just kind of hanging on that right-hand side, even though silenced out by Sulfur's health bars still a little bit too low for Manos to go for the chase. That was kind of messy, was it not? That was a little all over the place in my eyes, because let's do a quick recap, right? Wabi-Sabi walk away with Moonlight Queen Naga and the Pyromancer and the Ritual. Manos Cabezones get the Gold Fury and win the fight, ? Right? It feels like we just kind of ended up even because Manos Cabezones was in the lead, I guess, because you have this Loki that was super big. But what this did was get Evil Cole some breathing room, more than breathing room. They're actually ahead. And now that they have this Deathbringer in pocket, that Survivor Sash 2 tells me that we could be looking at maybe an Executioner or something like that, which would be an interesting pickup because I don't think that item's very good. But it's a little bit of prot to go with your Dagger of Frenzy. You know you'll be able to find your procs and be able to take down objectives. So all in all, Wabi-Sabi still looking pretty strong this game, despite the fact that Rapids is just actually massive.
Yeah, it feels like we saw this exact same narrative last time. He is in so much trouble. Gets auto-canceled back away. Gets into the somersault cloud just about. But we saw this exact same thing last time, right, Musi? Manos Cabezones, they are way ahead in these fights early. They get more kills. They have more presence on the map, it feels like. But it's always Wabi-Sabi with the technical game, peeling away these objectives, getting the stronger farm. They're always a little bit ahead in gold. Even now, 2 grand in the lead of their counterparts. I'm not sure how they're doing it, but Wabi-Sabi's always finding the gaps despite not finding the kills.
Rapids is waiting in the bush while Wabi-Sabi pull this Pyromancer. He takes a bit of poke there, though. That means he's got to back off, and the Pyro goes the way of Alec.
Yeah, he got it. That's going to be a secure. Unfortunately for Manos Cabezones, they aren't able to steal it away. Now, no Somersault Cloud available to the Wukong here. You already used that earlier. You can't get that escape out of jail free card twice. No way. 1 kill down. Fire Giant is open. Wabi-Sabis are going straight for it.
I love this. This is a super sick pull, by the way, right? Jingwei shows herself in the left lane. You have the means to be able to keep Manos away. This is good.
Yeah, it's nearly down, but the rest of the team are coming in. Alec finally does secure it. Loki's in. Brand goes down.
Whoa!
Paul falls as well. And Rapids, yet again, is ripping through this team. Just long enough for the rest of Wabi-Sabi to catch up and turn the tables. Rapids falls, Spreen falls, Sulfurs looks to be next. The stun is good, and he's leading them straight to where Wabi-Sabi want to be. The Gold Fury now open to this team wearing Fire Giant belts.
Well, it was a good pull. It was a great pull, a wonderful pull, even some would say. Wabi-Sabi are able to walk away with that FG, but Rapids is still able to find a couple of picks, so no FG buff for Cole or Briand, but that's fine. Because somehow Wabi-Sabi is still walking away the victor in all these engagements. You lose your left side bird. That's a small price to pay for putting a ridiculous amount of pressure on this map by just taking away every single other objective that could be there. Also, worth pointing out, I saw the hover from Tess. Thank you, Tess. Mercury's Talaria is where we went with that Survivor Sash. Makes so much more sense than the Executioner that I was theory crafting before. Pathfinding, 40 strength, and just is Mercury passive on an item?
Is this not... Sorry, Mercury gets this when he spawns in, though.
Yeah,
These are
yeah.
his
Well,
these are
yeah.
his shoes. I mean, it's high res real talk. It's kind of cringe that
Mhm.
you let Mercury keep boots, but the rest of us have to walk around the battlefield toes out. Kind of messed
I'm
up.
not complaining.
Uh, okay, moving on. 22 minutes into the game. Fire Giant Intel. I will say this, Monos Cabezones opening up the left side Phoenix specifically does give them a really good fighting chance into the next Gold Fury. Fire Giant, I was
Mhm.
right the first time. Those timers sync up. It's going to force Wabi-Sabi back over here to the left-hand side, unless, of course, they start charging down the left themselves to try and open up the Phoenix, vice versa. It will require them to group up, which right now just is not the case. Meanwhile, Monos Cabezones, they are one unit. They are a death ball.
Manos Cabezones also, I see that the Nua has their Titan's Bane online before we have any other forms of penetration for Wabi-Sabi here. Alec has got theirs. Rapids is dead. Hold the phone. Where'd he go? What? I blinked and Loki's gone.
Yeah, what? I also missed that. Where did he go? What was he? He was in
Oh,
the
you went
jungle.
invisible.
He got
Invisible to TP back to base.
right. No, you're right. He's just taking the
Yeah.
long Loki portal where we can't see him to get back to his base. Meanwhile, his left tier 2 is gone, so maybe someone should call him about that because he's basically the only one who's been able to get consistent picks hit 11 and 4 on this Loki. The fourth slash just coming now in the blink of an eye. Meanwhile, Wabi-Sabi, that's left tier 2, mid tier 2. It looks like the right tier 2 is going to be the next port of call. All these structures need to go because they have their eyes set on the tower's love child.
Pyromancer there. Pretty easy pickup as well. Be able to get a Pyro Bomb. Very standard Fire Giant play, I think, from Wabi-Sabi. It's the safe option, right? You pick up the towers, you pick up whatever remaining objectives. You know that Monos can't really step to you, especially with the fact that Rapids is MIA. Somebody called a Loki. Pyro there, confirmed for Wabi-Sabi. But this does give Monos a little bit of a chance to get some of their own farm online and maybe turn a fight around, right? We're kind of waiting on this Jing Wei to finish up that Titan's Bane so they can really start getting some big crits. You'll notice there's no Spectral for James on the Achilles. It's actually going to be belonging to the Yamoja. So as long as Yamo and the Achilles aren't standing too close to each other, we can crit them down. If Evil Cole is trying to go to the back line, Dino K can turn around and blow them up with a couple of shots. It's going to be the big crit off of 2026 between these two characters. But we already know that Evil Cole was built in a lab to kill Spree, right? So Dino K should be safe in theory, right? Like, that's his job. He clocks into work every single day. He's got a little card. It says, I kill Spree. And then, you know, it comes with benefits.
Next to it. Yeah, how many he gets bonuses based on how many times Spreen dies. Yeah, at the moment he gets 5 extra. I learned this word earlier, Chad. You'll have to tell me if I'm using the right one. He gets 5 extra Benjamins. One Benjamin per kill. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
100% right. Very well done.
Great. Okay, so I'm learning. 1 Benjamin per kill. Evil Cole though, he's that's not Spreen, so he's not gonna put that on his list. He's in fact gonna walk away. The Monkey Man gets to stay, and we're back to the neutral game here. I say neutral as if we don't have 2 giant blobs of color on our map. Getting ready for this next Fire Giant spawning in 15 seconds.
Right around the corner there, but we don't see the alts available for either team. Actually, they probably have it up. In fact, let's pivot over and talk about this mid-ritual. This could be very good for Monos if they get it, right? Could give them some breathing room to take a look at that Fire Giant, knowing that they have some pressure on the lanes themselves, but Ganesh is already dead.
Oh my god, not quite. The damage is solid, but he's able to get away. No barriers includes damage. He can just run through it. Apparently, this time around, Sulfur's very lucky to get away there. Looks like the Cersei's gift gets him safe as well. I believe that is Cersei's gift that he was able to move his way out of. And now it's the Fire Giant. Ganesh is TKO'd. Monos Cabezones have to take some time to regroup. This is burning fast, but Monos Cabezones are on their way.
They can get there in time. The question is, what can you do once you get there? 4K and dropping, Yama walls up.
And the Fire Giant is burning down. Alec finds credit for it, and now the fight begins in earnest. Down they fall. Darming Pillars comes in to try and stop some of this momentum, but the Mercury goes a little bit too deep. He's taken a ton of damage already. Dagger on the table for him, and it's going to be Alex to kick us off. The Ganesh already falling, and
Oh.
it was very close. He'd not quite able to get rid of the Mercury. Now in a bad place. Rapids trying his old tricks, but they're used to it by now. Wabi-Sabi immune to the decoy clone taunt. Rapids falls down as well. No casualties for the Chaos side. Order side. Chaos side has had multiple casualties, and it's going to be the right side Phoenix as forfeit.
Alec is about half, but with the Yemo and the Fire Giant buff, the Agni should be looking pretty healthy in a moment. This could be an end call from Wabi-Sabi if they can find the picks.
Yeah, they want it. I don't even know if they need to find the picks. The damage is going to be so much as long as Alec can stay alive. And it looks like the Chaos side are burning alive, trying to find it, but it's just not enough AoE from either player to stop this onslaught of fire-belted players. Wabi-Sabi, after 2 games struggling in the early Musi, this is a clean double sweep. And you know, not to say things lightly here, but this playstyle, we don't mind if we lose early. We're still gonna find this farm and come back later. Feels very energy to me.
It's powerful. I mean, if you know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, right? You know where your goals are. You just have to get there. You have to ask yourself what matters to you. Wabi-Sabi decided what mattered most, and this was consistent with the last game too. Moonlight Queen Naga. We get the Moonlight Queen Naga. We split the map as best we can. We get our hyper carries, the farm that they need. Because you don't need to win the early game if you know that you can just keep yourself up until you get to that late game. Although I'll tell you what, Evil Cole was still able to make that impact early game, getting the Rage stacked online pretty quickly, finding the first blood onto Rapids, who Rapids didn't let it get him down. 11 and 5 and 3. This Loki was still getting active on the map. But ultimately, James and the Achilles was able to pop off. Alec with the Agni pick. The slash line might not look impressive, but they were pumping a pretty significant amount of damage top on their team.
Yeah, I think this is the story of the game, right? Like, we look across the other side. Sure, Spreen has tons of damage, but if we look at the impact that damage had, 7 assists off the... I mean, all to Rapids, surely. 11, 5, and 3 on the jungler. Both games has been a standout for his squad, but when we look at an overall analysis here, Musi, it has just been Rapids. He'd sure showed up in game number 1, not as much as I would have liked, but this game a little bit quiet from the solo laner. And it felt like there was just too much for Loki to handle. Meanwhile, the other squad, they were everywhere. Everyone was getting a little bit of something here, there, basically wherever Rapids wasn't.
What I really appreciate about how Wabi-Sabi was playing this game too is that Evil Cole was always on top of this Nuwa. During the laning phase, Spreen never had a chance to get online, right? Like, they just did a crazy amount of damage to this Nuwa and just keeping them under constant pressure where they never had a chance to really play the game. And when you're down your mid laner, your teammates are just not going to look that great either. So even though Rapids was popping off, like you said, he didn't have a great showing. They didn't have a chance to get out of the lane and make something happen because their mid laner was too busy just looking at the black and white.
Yeah, it feels like it was such a... What is the best word I can use to be nice but realistic? It is an interesting choice from Spreen, I think, to pick Nuwa into a team that already had an Achilles, an Agni, a Neith, a Mercury. You know, Yamoja wasn't picked just yet, but this was the last pick on this squad, you know? This isn't like we locked Nuwa first and we got countered. This was, we countered ourselves.
I felt that Manos Cabezones had a very strong draft game 1. I don't know if I had a chance to see that game 2, but it was well played, I think, from both teams in both games. Manos Cabezones still making an incredible showing that game 2. The 2-0 that you see on the set score, you might be led to believe one thing, but I will tell you right now, this could have very easily gone to 3. But Wabi-Sabi's end game plan and the way that they were able to group, play objectives, and keep themselves competitive, leading to their power spikes, ultimately led them to both of the victories in these games.
Yeah, I think it's all there on the table right, Musi? We saw some incredible gameplay. Wabi-Sabi, well, Monos Cabezones had great fights, great teamwork, mostly off the back of Rapids. I think we've pretty established that. But Wabi-Sabi just had the rest of the mechanics. They had the short game, they had the long game, they had the late game, they had every game. Even Jenga was in there, probably, in a little horde.
Uno.
But unfortunately, Uno as well, reversed. That's what... You're right. They played the Uno reverse course. That's right. We figured it out, chat. The whole secret to Wabi-Sabi's victory. But unfortunately, that is all the smite that we have for you tonight on the Albion Gaming League. I'm sure there are more wonderful content creators that you can find on after us, but thank you very much for having us here on the Smite Game channel. But I think until next time, folks and folkettes, my name has been BlazyBard. That's been Musi. Thank you very much for watching the Albion Gaming League. Giants League.